Hi there, school lunch challenge today. We have some goodies because we were given chocolate milk instead of white milk. Some Scooby graham crackers, a pear, some carrot, ranch, and a sandwich. So I say we go ahead and make a chocolate pear pie. Yep, that's right. We're gonna make two little mini pies, one for you and one to share for a friend with all the ingredients from our lunch. So let's get started. The first thing I did was I took 2 teaspoons of butter and I melted it down for our crust. And 2 teaspoons of sugar, because the sugar is going to help to make the crust so that it does not fall apart. And then I'm going to add in my Scooby snacks. So I'm going to vent the bag a little bit so that you don't end up having a balloon, and really go on it, press it really, really hard so that all of the graham cracker inside gets crushed down. And then when you open it, hopefully you'll pour it out and you'll get crumbs as fine as possible. The finer, the better, because you're gonna wanna put this into your pie pans. So we just take a fork and stir that around, make sure that we get it all evenly moistened. Should kind of be the consistency of sand for a sandcastle. Feel it. Okay, it's nice and wet. It holds together in our hand. Now, I happen to have 2 little foil pie pans here. If you don't have that, that's fine. You don't have to use it. I also have just a plain flat pasta bowl. You can use ramekins. You could even put these in a mug and make them more layered. They won't be a pie, but we're doing little mini pies today. So we're gonna try to estimate as evenly as we can the 2 portions of the graham cracker. We're gonna press it into the pan. So pressing it in, working it onto the bottom. Okay, and a portion of the way up. It won't come all the way up. There's not enough crumb for that. So I'm just gonna go ahead and take my hand and really press that in. Try and making it as tightly compact as possible so that when I pour my pudding in, it stays in the shell nicely. It's okay if you have a little bit of holes at the bottom. Nobody will see them. And we go just a portion of the way up. We get our graham cracker all set, and you can put them in the refrigerator if you don't have any room on your counter, or just set them aside until we prep our pears and our chocolate. So to the bowl that I had already started using to mix my crumb, I'm just gonna add in a 1/4 cup of water and a tablespoon of sugar. And just mix that around with my finger. I'm gonna put this in the microwave to dissolve the sugar before I place the pear in it and go ahead and start prepping my pears. So I'll put this in for about a minute. While my sugar water or my poaching liquid is in the microwave, I already peeled my pear, and I can simply just take the same measuring spoon that I used to measure out some of my ingredients and go ahead and core the inside. Okay, take off any little bit of skin. And this pear was nicely ripe. Pears are hard. You're definitely gonna wanna do the sugar syrup, where we're gonna place this back in the microwave so it becomes more of a canned pear texture. But if it is soft like this, this is perfect eating consistency today. So we're gonna cut this up. Okay, and just kind of fan it out. And we're gonna bring up our liquid. Okay, it's dissolved. We're gonna place our pears in. Remember, it's hot. I have hands of steel. Okay, and we're simply gonna go ahead and make sure all the pears are coated in the liquid. Place it back into the microwave for another minute, and we're gonna check the consistency of the pear. Depending on the ripeness of the pear, that's gonna determine how long it stays in the sugar syrup. So if you can see the steam, it was in for 1 minute, and if you notice, when I put my knife in, it comes immediately out. So we basically poached these pears so that they're a softer texture, so that it'll be more in line with the pudding itself when we put the pudding in. So we're not really biting on a hard crunch. It is softer. You could use just straight water, but the sugar helps to make sure that it is sweet and helps to keep it texture a little bit better than just straight water. So we did that. And I'm gonna go ahead and let that cool some, but I'm also gonna take a few pears out and save them for my garnish. Then I'm gonna go ahead and place the pears in the bottom of the pan. So you won't see them, but you do want them to lay flat and try to get out as much liquid as you possibly can. So we wanna just evenly use up all of our pears. Really easy just to cut with my fork. I'm gonna put that little last bit in and that little last bit in. So I'm getting some fiber from the pear, some vitamins from the pear. And the textures change. So some people don't like fresh pear, they like it cooked. Now on to my pudding. So we're getting there. So to the same bowl, I just rinsed it out with the poaching liquid and got rid of the poaching liquid. I'm gonna add in 2 tablespoons of sugar. And I add that in first because there's still a little water in the bottom of my bowl. And then I wanna add in 1 tablespoon of cocoa. And you do, even though we have the chocolate milk, you do need the cocoa to help enrich it. You could also use chocolate chips or chocolate pieces. Some type of a dark chocolate would be preferred, but really anything. And then lastly, I want to use cornstarch because that's going to act as my thickening agent. And I'm going to use 2 teaspoons, get all that out of there, 2 teaspoons of cornstarch. Now I'm going to use my fork to mix all of these dry ingredients together. No egg in this, so the cornstarch, we want to make sure that that is smooth. And the cocoa, we want to make sure it's smooth. So as we're adding in our milk, you could do this with white milk as well. The chocolate milk adds a little bit more richness to it, but you'll still have the same effect. Or you could leave the cocoa out and simply have just a vanilla pear pie with plain milk. So you could do that, but you can see how nice and dark in color it's getting. So I want to just keep mixing that, scraping all the way on the sides. You can use a rubber spatula if you want to. And continue to add my milk until my entire 8-ounce container is in the bowl. So add it in a little faster once it's blended. The last thing we're going to add to this is a little bit of vanilla, about a 1/4 teaspoon. And I'm going to put it in the microwave for 3 minutes. After 2 minutes, I'm going to keep an eye on it because if it's bubbling vigorously, I want to take it out with my fork and I want to stir it around. That'll help to make sure that the cornstarch is not settling to the bottom and that we get a nice smooth custard at the end. So 3 minutes in the microwave, but I'm going to check it after 2 and then determine how much longer I have to go with my pudding to cook it all the way through. So I went for 2 minutes. I'm definitely gonna need that 3rd minute, but I took it out to stir it. And then we'll probably go an additional 3 minutes after that. So after the first 2 minutes, every minute you're gonna stir it until it thickens. Okay, so I had this in the microwave for 2 minutes, brought it out, stirred it, put it in for another 1 minute, stirred it, and then I set it for 3 minutes in total, but I really watched this because if you don't watch it, it will boil out over your bowl. But if you notice that it's coming to the top of the bowl, just stop the microwave, stir it down, and continue on. So in total, this took 6 minutes, but stirring frequently throughout the microwaving process so that it does not go everywhere. And you can see it is nice and thick and chocolatey. So we're going to take our pie shells that we prepared and we're going to evenly place in our pudding so that we cover the pear all the way. Then we're going to go ahead and cool this with plastic directly touching the pudding and get it nice and cold for at least an hour. But as you can see, it's set pretty firm. I'm going to take my pears and I'm just going to go ahead and create just a really pretty top. Garnish just gives it a little bit more interest. And I'm gonna see how it came out. So my pears are nice and soft. I'm gonna go ahead and dig into my crust. You can see my crust is set, my pudding is set, and my pears are in there. If you wanna really be sneaky, don't put any on top. All right, and this is my school lunch challenge. Accepted, completed, delicious. Enjoy.